Goose here, and today we're doing origami basketball. All you're gonna need is some paper and a pair of scissors. You can use some tape as an optional step, and I'll show you that when we get there. You can start off by using either a square piece of origami paper, but if you don't have that, I'm gonna show you how to make it out of a regular piece of printer paper. All right, to get started, you're going to use your rectangular piece of printer paper. Like I said before, you could use a square piece of origami paper, but I like to use the rectangular piece because it also gives us the basketballs that we're gonna be using. I'm gonna show you two ways. The first one is completely optional, that uses a little bit more equipment. And then the other way is the way that I like to do it, where you just need a pair of scissors. So if you wanted to make this as square as possible, you could take a ruler and a pen, and you could measure out the length of one side of the paper, and then going from that corner, you could measure the other side. Use your pen, make a little mark, and then you do the same thing on the other side, and then you would take your scissors and you would cut your way across. But instead of doing that, I'm going to show you an easier method where you just need the scissors. You're going to take one corner of your paper and you're going to fold it all the way over just like this until you make a nice square shape on your paper. And you're just gonna make a nice crease. It might not be quite as straight as the other way that I showed you, but I think that it's quicker and easier, especially if you're gonna be making more than one of these. So once you have that shape, that's gonna give us the square that we need, and we're gonna cut off this excess section. So using your scissors very carefully and as straight as possible, you're gonna cut across that piece of paper. Notice how I'm just cutting this little tab here. I'm not cutting into the solid piece. You're gonna go all the way across. Once you make that cut, you're done with the scissors, so you can set them off to the side and then save this scrap because we're going to use it for later. So now that we have our square, we're going to make another fold where we're going to fold one end over like this and the other side over that, trying to make it as close as we can into thirds. This part can be a little tricky and it doesn't have to be perfect, but try to eyeball it and get as close to as folding it into 3 equal pieces as possible. And then you're just gonna lay a nice crease like that, so you have a thinner rectangle, and we're gonna unfold that. So now in our paper, you should have 3 relatively even sections. The next step is we're going to take one of the outer thirds, and we're gonna fold that end to that crease that we just made. So we're folding the outer third in half on itself. And we're gonna put another crease just like that. And then instead of unfolding it, we're just gonna leave that piece folded over like that. And then for the next step, we're just gonna repeat that on this other side. So take that outer third, fold it in half, right up to that crease that we made. Just like that. So now we should have that inner third, and then the outer 2 parts are folded in half on top of each other. So now that we have those in, that's gonna help support it to stand up. We're gonna make the actual basket. So you're gonna take one corner of your paper and you're gonna fold it all the way over to that other side, just like we did in that first step. And then we're just gonna lay a crease just like that. Try to make sure you're getting the edges nice and lined up. And we're gonna unfold that. So now there should be a long crease going all the way across your paper. And we're gonna repeat that with the other corner. Once again, we're trying to make sure that we're getting this edge lined up as evenly as we can before we put our crease in. And we're gonna unfold that. We should have a nice little X that goes through the center of our paper. And we're gonna fold this upper part in half right over where that X is formed. We're gonna fold that straight over on top of itself, just like that. So it should be right over where those lines cross to make the X. So we're just about done. We have one more tricky part, and then the rest is pretty straightforward. So you're going to leave the top part folded over like this, and then you're going to take one side and you're going to kind of push this corner in to itself and make this weird kind of flat triangle shape. And then this top edge, you're going to fold back onto itself. So now you should have two triangle shaped flaps on this side, and the other side is still pretty square. But we're going to repeat that process that we just did for this corner onto this corner. So you're gonna kind of poke that corner in so that it flattens out this edge, and then you're gonna take this top flap and fold it back to that corner, just like that. And then you're gonna make a nice little crease there. So we are just about there. We have one more step, and that's to make the rim. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the top flap from each side, and you're gonna fold them up. And then one of the corners here is going to go into this little gap on the other side. Once it gets there, you're gonna kind of press it down. See if you can see that. All right, and then this step is where the tape comes in. Like I said, this is an optional step, but I really like it. You're gonna take one small piece of tape, and you're gonna go from the inside of the rim and place your tape. So the sticky part is now facing up, and then you're just gonna wrap that around all the way. And that's really gonna help hold that rim together so it's not falling apart on you all the time. So now the only thing we have to do for our origami basketball is to get it to stand up. And the way you're gonna do that is you're going to fold in at that part that we doubled over itself earlier, inside, just like that. And then you're gonna stick it up just like that so that it's not too far in or too far out. We want it going straight up. And we're gonna repeat with this other side. Fold that doubled over part. Really press that crease in there, and then open it just a little bit. And there you go. You have your own little origami basketball hoop. You can do all kinds of fun things with these. You can make 2 of them like I did with these ones, and you can play a game against a friend or a family member. Whoever makes the most hoops wins. You could also ask your parents if there's a cool place that you could tape it and try to do some cool trick shots like Dude Perfect. And then there's one more step that I want to show you, and this is using that scrap that we made earlier. This is the easiest step because all you have to do is take a little bit of that paper, rip it off, just crumple it up, then you have your basketballs. So that's Origami Basketball. I hope you had fun with it. It's a great rainy day activity. Join me here tomorrow for Oreo Baseball.